Hello. Okay, so we're back, and I'm still working on stitching in the ditch. I'm just going along here and stitching in this fluffy fabric. It's a little bit thick, but I use my other hand to push up the fabric so that I can get the needle in there and it's not slipping off my needle, because you can kind of feel it slip off your needle if you're not pushing it up enough. I'm almost to the corner here, and then I'm going to do this little design that I have in this blue square. So I'm going to tie it off right here. And then I'm going to quilt the design. This is the design. It is called Scroll Motif. That's what it looks like. And I wrote on them to tell me where I put them in my quilt, so when I get to the other end of my quilt, I will know where to put them, because I want to put them in the same spot. I wouldn't really have to. I mean, I have a different one for each square, so I could like change them up a little bit. Just gonna draw this in a little bit more. I kind of rubbed up against it. Okay, so I'm gonna start at the little curl. Help if I would tie a knot in my thread, wouldn't it? Okay. So this pencil is very light and it rubs off very easily. It is a quilting pencil, of course, and it's supposed to, you know, be able to erase easy. But sometimes I feel like it erases too easily. So when I'm quilting like this over it, my hand will rub off some of the other parts of the stencil color, and then I have to keep coloring it in with my pencil. So that I know where my lines are. It's a little hard doing curves, especially when you don't have it in your hoop. It's in your big quilting frame, and you have to go around all these curves, because this one's a very curvy stencil. Scrawl. It's a scrawl. So you understand it's curvy. And my stitches are, if you're not happy with your stitches, you can take them out. That's the good thing about I don't know. I am not happy with them right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take my little needle, pick up the thread, and pull it back through, because there's not I got them a little bit uneven and I don't like it. I should have just took them out before I went that far, when I realized how even it looked, because I almost missed a stitch right in there, so I will start it over. Sometimes it happens that way. If I can thread my needle again. Oh boy. Okay. Got it in there. Alright, so let's try this again. See if we can get a better looking stitch in there. Alright, that looks a little better. Okay. Let's continue on. I have my needle puller downstairs. I was working on another little baby quilt recently, and it's still down there. And I have not brought it up here. And that's what I need to do. I try not to rest my hand against the fabric, but I'm still rubbing it. This pencil is so easily rubbed off. I am not happy with it. Trying to keep it back in there. The white shows up better than that pink, but it's just frustrating. Now this stencil, you can go around, if your thread's long enough, you can just keep going around without having to stop, because it's a continuous line. So you can pretty much, if you have a long enough piece of thread, which you're gonna have to change out your thread or get new thread probably halfway through, even if you did have a long piece, which my thread is not that long right now. So I'm not gonna be able to go real far. But the way this is made, it's made to go continuously without having to cut your thread and starting at a different point. But I will have to get new thread anyway, because my thread isn't going to go very far. As you can see, I'm getting towards the end of it. But you can just keep stitching around it in a continuous pattern. Well, technically, you're now that I look at it, you're able to go the whole way around in an S pattern. That's where these are little hearts, connecting hearts, but when you do the pattern, you can either do one of the hearts or you can follow it around and do an S pattern like I'm doing right now. So you do come to an end at the end of the scroll, which I don't even know if my thread's going to make it to the end of the scroll. It may. But then you can either hop on over to the next scroll line, or you'll cut your thread and start at the next scroll line again. See, my thread popped out. Hate that. So, I think it's a little short to try to continue on, because then it just makes it more difficult. So I'm going to tie it off right here and get a new piece of thread. Because it's too short to work with. Alrighty. new piece of thread. I usually make my thread, I don't know, arm's length. I stretch out my arm, and as far as it'll go, that's where I cut my thread. For some people that might be too long, because also if it's too long, I sometimes get knots in it. So that's not good either. All right, so I kind of rub the line off. So what I'm gonna do is start at the scroll end and come back towards me. Cut that little piece of thread off. Okay. I kind of like it that I have all different stencils in each one of these blocks, because sometimes I get bored with the same stencil. So some people like to use the same stencil throughout their quilt, and that's fine. But sometimes I just get bored doing the same stencil the whole way through the quilt. So it's up to you. I mean, some people like the uniformity of the same stencil. And sometimes I do. It depends on the quilt and the stencil. But also, I like a little bit of variety in the quilt too at times. You know, it depends on what my quilt looks like. So I'm going to start over here on this other little scroll and go around till I meet the other side. Okay. Not doing a very good job of not rubbing the scroll lines off of my quilt. So I therefore have to keep touching it up so I can see where they are. I do tend to move my chair around a little bit, trying to, you know, get situated so I can turn my arm to do the quilting. I know I have the camera. It's hard to situate the camera where you can see me quilting all the angles. I need one that I can probably put above me. And I can adjust that one, but I don't think it's quite tall enough to do that with. All right, so sometimes I have to stop and look and see where my drawn in lines are so I know where I'm going here. Okay. just redoing my lines. It's just hard to not have your hand resting on the fabric when you're stitching, you know, because that's where your hand is. And then when it's resting on the fabric, it's rubbing those lines off again, which can be very frustrating. And you have to keep drawing them back on. All right, I'm almost to the end of my scroll. Oh boy. So I think I am. Okay, a little bit more. I don't know if you can hear the wind, but it's very windy out today. Goodness. Can't even get my needle pulled out of the material. Okay. Her, I got 2 sides done. And I rubbed most of the lines off. Okay. I'm drawing the lines back on. And I will show you what it looks like. Okay. Oh boy. Almost looks like a little butterfly. Let's see here. See the stitching? All right. So I'm going to stop right here, and I want you guys to keep quilting. And as I always say, have fun doing it.